Hello, my name is Ligaya. Thank you for joining us today for gentle yoga. So in the next 20 or 30 minutes or so, we're going to be going through a series of very, very simple breathing exercises and some simple poses on the floor for relaxation and for flexibility. So I'd like you to start actually sitting up on something, either a stack of blankets. If you don't have yoga blankets, you can actually take a few beach towels and kind of stack them up together, as many as you need. I oftentimes use 2, but you can use 3 if you need to kind of bring your hips a little bit further from the floor. And the way you want to try to adjust these blankets is you want to stack them so that your hips and your knees are actually level, okay? Or actually, ideally, maybe the knees just slightly lower than the hips. But we want to be comfortable, and we actually don't want the knees to be kind of hovering up. That kind of alters the alignment of the base and the way that the spine sits in the pelvis. So let's see if we can bring our hips up by stacking and using some blankets. There's a natural way that we like to fold our legs when we sit in this cross-legged position. So I want to encourage you to actually switch them so that it feels like, when I teach kids, we say it's the funny feeling way. So it's the way that you naturally fold your legs, put that in the opposite configuration. So for me, that's having my left foot tucked in and my right leg folded over. For you, it might be something different, okay? But we're just going to start here in our seated pose. We want to kind of rock from side to side so that we can really feel those sits bones, kind of almost feel as though they're kind of drilling into whatever base you have here. We're going to take our hands and we're just going to place them really lightly on the tops of the thighs. And the hands on the thighs, whether they're palm down or face up, that kind of gentle pressure helps to kind of lift the chest, lift the sideways, so that we're really sitting nice and tall in our seat. Go ahead and just close the eyes for a minute. Take a deep inhale here, and as you sit and breathe, we're not trying to control the breath, we're just sort of observing kind of the length of the inhale, the length of the exhale. And maybe as we start to tune into the breath, we can kind of start to tune out some of the other things that might be running through our minds, the worries, the laundry lists, the to-do lists. And see if we can remove those things from our mind and let the sound of the inhale and the rhythm of the exhale start to become really the loudest sound that we hear. There is really nothing that brings us more immediately into the moment than the act of just focusing on our breath and our breathing. Let's take one more deep inhale in and exhale out. Good. Open the eyes for just a moment, and we're going to talk today about a very, very simple breathing exercise. It's called alternate nostril breathing, and it's really, really relaxing. But there is certainly a technique to it, so I'd like you just to sort of follow along for just a moment. You're going to take your right hand, and it really is important. Again, the sidedness of this is important. Normally, as I teach, I try to mirror you, but in this case, please listen to what I'm saying, because I'm actually going to demonstrate with my right hand, but obviously you're going to be seeing the opposite. So we're going to take our index finger and our middle finger, and we're just going to plant that very lightly between the eyebrows. I'm going to take my right thumb now And that right thumb is going to come to rest very gently on the outside of the right nostril. And then my ring finger here is going to rest on the outside of the left nostril. Okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be closing off the left and the right nostril alternately with either my thumb or with the ring finger. Okay? So to start, we're again going to rest those fingers right there on the eyebrow, kind of just below this area that we call the third eye. And then the right thumb is going to come on the right nostril, and the ring finger from the right hand is going to cover the left nostril. So we're going to take an inhale through both nostrils. So inhale here, and exhale through both. Good. Now what I want you to do is close off that right nostril. Take an inhale through the left, and then pressing that left nostril in, release the right and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, close both nostrils, lift that ring finger, exhale. Inhale again through the left. Close that left side off. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right side. Close that off. Exhale the left. And let's do a few more rounds of this, just kind of at your own pace. Alternating, inhaling, and then exhaling through the opposite. Inhaling again. And one more time. And we're going to finish with exhaling through the right nostril, and then releasing everything, taking a big breath in, and exhale everything out. Good. Keep those eyes closed. Take an inhale, reach the arms overhead. And then exhale, bring everything right back down through center line. Bow the head, take a moment here. Maybe take a breath as you sit with the head bowed. And then open the palms, lift the gaze, open the eyes. Good. Inhale, take the arms overhead, gaze comes up. Exhale, come right back down through center line. Press those palms together. Again, inhale, arms come up and overhead, and exhale, come back down through center. Good. This time, we're going to inhale, taking the arms overhead. We're going to take the right arm now and bring it across the body to touch the outside of the left knee. Our left hand is behind us for support, so it's either touching the ground, or you can actually grab on to the blanket and sort of pull against the blanket so that we're twisting our torso. Maybe the chin goes out over the back shoulder. Take a breath here in the seat. Good. Inhale, arms come up and overhead, and we go the opposite way. So left arm comes across to the right knee. And again, this hand is either on the floor, or it can actually grab the blanket and kind of, it's sort of a push-pull twist. And then the gaze goes out over that right shoulder. So almost as if we're trying to look towards that back wall. And let's do one more time each side. Inhale, arms come overhead, and then exhale, twisting. And last time, inhale up. And hand comes across to the outside of the knee. Chin goes out over that back shoulder, over the right shoulder. And coming back up again. And then arms just coming back down and to the side. Good. Let's bring the bottoms of the feet together now. And again, we can grab onto the ankles or we can grab onto the knees, whatever's accessible for us. Take an inhale, lift the chest, drop that chin back. Opening up the throat. Good. Inhale, head comes back to neutral. As we exhale, belly button presses into the spine. We round the upper back. We kind of tilt back on our pelvis as well. Hollowing out the belly. Taking the chin down to the chest and taking a big breath into the upper back here. Good. Inhale. Tilting forward with the pelvis. Lift the gaze up towards the ceiling. Maybe unhinge the jaw. Open the mouth and then close. And again, feeling that opening just in the front of the throat. Chin comes back down onto chest. Roll through. Press those abs into the spine. Take the chin down onto the chest. Good, and inhale. And sitting back up to center. Good, take those legs and shake them out in front. Great, let's come down and off of our blanket seat or your stack of towels or whatever you have. We're actually gonna lie back onto our back body. So I want to have some supports available. So again, your bricks or a phone book or something. And then also, if you have a strap, a yoga strap, that would be great. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can always use, there's lots of things around the house that you can use. You can actually even use like a dish towel or just something to kind of give us a little bit of length on the arm. Okay, so as we lie back, we're going to take our blankets and we're going to pull them in so they're kind of right next to our hip. So they're supporting our hip, and we're going to lie all the way back down so that we're flat on the back, and I'm going to hug this blanket so that it's touching my right hip, supporting my right hip. Let's put both feet on the ground for just a minute. Place both hands kind of on the low belly. And actually, I'm going to pull this down so that my shoulders and elbows can rest on the mat. Okay, so we're going to heel toe the feet out a little bit so they're slightly wider than hip distance, and then we're going to allow our knees to kind of knock together at the center. So take the hands, both hands, spread the fingers out. We're going to rest on the low belly and take a big deep breath and feel those fingers actually separate as you breathe in, and then exhale, slowly breathing out. Good. Take a breath in. As you breathe, just kind of think about what's happening as I'm breathing. You feel those back ribs kind of contact the mat. Feel the chest sort of lift off the floor. Again, feel those fingers separate. And then exhale. Let everything out one last time. Big, deep breath. Breathing into the low belly. Breathe up into those spaces just under the collarbones. And then exhale, let everything out. Sometimes just a different change in our position, a different relationship to gravity can allow us to appreciate the breath in just a different way. Sometimes when we're standing up, it's hard to breathe into that low belly, but on our back and with our knees knocked in and with a little bit more relaxation in the lower belly area, it's much easier to come into kind of an awareness or a physical contact with the breath. And one last deep breath in. Good. So the stack that I have, I'm going to pull it up again so that it's really supporting that outside hip. And I'm going to stretch my legs out. Take my arms up and overhead, flex the feet, and just kind of feel my whole spine really long on the mat. So we're going to make this sort of blade with the hands. The thumbs are going to touch down into the floor, and we're just going to really activate every muscle in our body. So I'm flexing my feet, they're lifting off the mat, my thighs are active. Good, and then we're gonna exhale, let everything relax, kind of shake those ankles out. I'm gonna reach for my strap. I'm gonna bend the right leg and then the left. I'm gonna take this strap and I'm gonna place it around the ball of the right foot, okay? So I have one strap in each hand. The strap is across the ball of the foot. This left leg is still bent. So one strap in each hand. The arms are straight. I want to avoid doing this. This is a lot of tension up through the shoulders. I want you to think of the strap as just an extension of the arms. The other thing that we want to try to avoid is lifting the shoulders and the back of the head off the mat. So I really want you to find a place where the shoulder blades are actually on the mat. My arms are straight. I'm not straining, okay? I'm going to very gently just bend the elbows and pull. It's almost as if I'm kind of pulling my toes towards my nose. So just kind of rocking back and forth, bringing a little bit of stretch to the back of that hamstring. And only kind of bending and rocking as far as your body allows. If this is really fiery, really tense in the back of the leg, you can actually take a little bend in the knee, okay? And then kind of start your rock from there. And maybe as we start to warm up, you can eventually kind of straighten that leg a little bit. Very gently, just kind of pulling that leg towards you, not with any force, just kind of loosening things up in the hip and the hamstring. Good. From here, we're going to straighten this left leg now along the mat and flex that foot, and we're going to keep that foot really flexed, nice and active. Take both straps into the right hand, take your left arm and place it right on the top of that thigh and kind of press that thigh into the mat, okay? Take an inhale, exhale. We're going to allow this right leg now to travel away from the body, open up. This stack of blankets here is to prevent you from actually rolling over and onto that right hip. So both legs are flexed. My left hand is resting on my left thigh, just as a little reminder to kind of keep both hips even and kind of firmly attached to the ground. We don't want to sort of just roll over onto that right hip. Good. Inhale. Come on back to center. We're going to switch the strap now into the left hand. The right arm is going to come right out from the shoulder. Palm is going to face the ground. This is another important one where if it starts to feel really tight and if you feel any tension, that you're very, very welcome to actually bend that right knee as we take the leg sort of across the body. So you'll feel this almost instantly here in this outer right hip. Again, if that's really a lot and you're feeling it towards the back of the knee, take a little bend in the knee as you take this across the body. You don't need to roll all the way over onto that left hip. In fact, I think you get a deeper and a safer stretch if you actually keep both hips on the floor and just take this across. Maybe it's just 10 or 15 degrees across from the midpoint of your body. It doesn't take much to actually get into the muscles of those outer rotators of your hip. So when things are tight, what do? We breathe into those tight spaces. So as the leg travels over, we take a breath into the right hip. Good, and then we come back to center. Let's take the strap, one in each hand. Okay, and again, come back to that starting neutral position. So both toes are flexed. Maybe I can straighten this knee just a little bit more now that we've warmed up a bit. Good, and then exhale. We're going to take that strap off and then just allow that leg to float down. Okay, take your blanket setup and we're going to move it to the opposite hip now. So tuck it up so it's close to that left hip. Grab your strap again. I'm actually going to demonstrate this time with this dish towel to show you that it does work. Okay, bend both knees. Take your strap or your towel around the ball of the foot, one hand on each side. Flex the foot. Good. Keep this foot bent and so that you have something to press against. As you very gently, again, kind of bend the elbows and just kind of rock that leg towards the chest, bending the elbow really gently. Again, even if this is tight, take the bend in the knee. All right. When you bend, you'll notice that you feel it more in the hamstring than you do in the back of the knee. And that's what we want. We're working on, this is a hamstring stretch. Good. Maybe we can straighten and kind of do the same. Good. Take both straps or both ends of the towel in one hand, in the left hand. Then we're going to straighten and lengthen this right leg. My right hand is going to come just on the top of that right thigh. And we're going to try to keep both hips level and on the mat. Take an inhale, exhale. That left leg travels out away from the midline. This arm stays straight. That little bumper, the blankets next to my hip, prevent me from rolling over onto my left side. So really feel grounded through this entire right side of the body. So the back of the heel on the right foot, the back of the calf, the hip, the shoulder, all of these things are sort of glued into the mat. Keep that foot flexed. That helps to kind of keep that right leg really nice and active. Again, it's really easy sometimes to just give in to the flexibility of this pose for those of us that are open. But what you want to try to do in this position is you want to find strength. You don't want to just give in to your flexibility. So I'm using my outer left thigh, those rotators, to kind of keep this left leg really nice and engaged and into the hip socket. Good. Inhale, come on back to center, and let's switch. So right hand now grabs for either the tails of your dish towel or the tails of your yoga strap. Left arm is going to come out right from the shoulder. Palm again is going to face down and onto the mat. Again, just allow that leg to cross the midline. At some point you might want to bend that knee so that maybe you can get a slightly deeper stretch in those outer hips. Taking a breath here. Bending and straightening as you need to so that we don't seize up. A lot of times when we're doing yoga, we think that we have to get into a pose and hold it for a long time, but it's really important to listen to your body. And if there's tension, back away, or if there's tension, make an adjustment so that you're not kind of grinding through these yoga poses. That's a little kind of defeatist. So again, if this leg feels a little tight, take the bend. Maybe we have to bring it back a little bit so that there's a little less tension and pressure there. And then of course, the thing that really helps is to breathe. So taking a breath and directing that energy to that outer left hip. Good, come back to center. Again, one tail of your towel in each hand. Flex the foot, flex both toes. Feel the spine really long on the floor. Feel the back of the head pressing against the mat. Shoulder blades down the back body. Breathing here. And then just removing that strap and letting the leg float down towards the side. So take those blankets, just move them off to the side. Move everything sort of away and off of your mat. Bend those knees and allow them again just to kind of knock in towards center. Hands are going to come to the belly again. Elbows are going to rest on the floor. And let's take another moment here just to take a breath. Breathe into the low belly. Good. Straighten those legs, so my toes are now going to be parallel with those legs. I'm going to take the arms out into the side. And take the right leg. I'm going to lift it up and we're going to cross the ankle right over the left thigh. So take your right hand and just very gently just kind of press that knee away from the chest. Straighten the arm if you can. Good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take both arms out to the side. I'm going to roll onto my left hip and allow that right foot to kind of come down and towards the floor. If that's a lot, you could actually take your blankets again and tuck them under the outside of that knee so that you have some support there. Take a breath here. So this is a twist that's kind of combined with some outer hip stretches. Other adjustments that you can make, if this again is really tight on this outer right hip, straighten that left leg, okay, so that the legs actually move away from the waistline. If you want sort of a deeper stretch, you can bend that left leg in, so tucking this ankle almost under the buttocks, and that will give you kind of a deeper stretch in that right hip. So find kind of your sweet spot, find what works for you. If you want to complete the twist, you can actually look out over that right shoulder, close the eyes for a moment, take a deep breath. And then come on, everyone back to center. Unwrap those legs. And let's do the opposite side. So now my left ankle comes across my right thigh. I'm going to take my left hand. And then again, just kind of press that knee away. Breathing here. Take both arms out to the side, rolling onto that right hip now. I'm going to see if I can take this foot down and onto the floor. Again, if that's too much, I can take my blanket and kind of roll it up, maybe even tuck it under that hip so that there's some support there. So that the leg isn't just hanging in the air. So you want to kind of, this is gentle yoga, you want to sort of be supported there. So palms down onto the mat. Again, big breath into that outer left hip. Again, make your adjustments. You can straighten this leg to kind of take some of the tension out, or you can tuck it back under, bring it closer in. And then again, completing the twist, take that left, or take the gaze rather, over the left shoulder. And breathing in here. And coming on back to center. And unwrap those legs. Straighten both of them long and onto the floor. Inhale, reach the arms overhead again. Feel the length of your spine, flex the feet, reach the fingers all the way up overhead. And we're going to bend both knees. We're going to roll now onto our right side. And just take a moment kind of here in the little bit of a fetal position. Tuck those knees in. Let the head just sort of rest on that right arm. And then very slowly press that left palm into the floor. And let's come back to our seated position. And let's finish just with our very simple kind of cross-legged pose. So again, getting whatever props you need to feel comfortable. So I like to use 2 blankets, or you can use your 2 beach towels or whatever you have. Couch cushions work well also. Okay, but let's finish again, just sort of reconnecting to the breath, coming back to our seated pose. So crossing the legs, rocking from side to side so that we can really feel those sits bones into the mat. Resting the hands on the tops of the thighs, closing the eyes. And again, just bringing everything back to our breath. So it's always good when we've done twisting to sort of clear the spine in sort of a neutral position. So from here, let's inhale. Take the arms up and overhead, reach the fingertips up towards the sky. I want you to take the shoulders up and around the ears, and then as you exhale, drop them down onto the back body. Good. Exhale. We're going to hinge forward. We're going to take the hands out and onto the floor in front of us. Just kind of, again, clearing the spine. I like to spread the fingers out, bend the elbows. This feels really good in the low back. Again, especially after we've done a lot of twisting. And then inhale, walk those hands back. Good. Closing the eyes again. Nice deep breath here. On your next inhale, we're going to bring the hands together and into the heart center. Reconnecting to that breath. Knowing that as we move about our day, even though we're not on our mats, we have this capability, we have this tool that we can always return to our breathing to bring us back into the moment, to bring us immediately back and into the present. Thank you so much for joining today. Namaste.